Athlete Builder back at it, changing sports back to volleyball. We had two volleyball athletes on in the past, both high level athletes. We had Carly Wopat, she played for Team USA, and Shani Lipscomb, she was an All American, and then also she All American out of New Mexico State, and then played for I think Peru. So we had two high level volleyball athletes. This time we have a coach at the pro level. Unfortunately, born and raised in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and being from Ohio, I'm an Ohio State fan. So we're going to get along today. We're going to have a lot of fun. A little bit about Brett Agne, not Agni, Brett Agne.
There you go.
Going to get right into some of his questions, but played a lot of baseball growing up, some running, real active kid. Went to BG, Bowling Green State University, northwest corner of Ohio, near and dear to Jim Beebe's heart because his entire family went there. My parents met there, all my siblings, cousins, basically everyone went to BG and studies marine biology. And I was just asking before we got on the show about
Yeah.
finding a golf ball out of a blowhole like George Costanza on Seinfeld. That didn't happen, but now he's already in the family since he was in Ohio. But no, nothing going on athletically that very much there other than a club sport. He finishes there and moves into volleyball pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
he's club level, wins all sorts of things. 8 years in club, wins a national title with AAU, 17 and under. Then does 7 years in college, 4 years Team USA. Now 2 years at the pro level with Indy Ignite. So we got Brett Agne on the show, and what I know a little bit about BG is they sing this stupid song that I love called "I Zingy Zumba." Like, can you sing it right now? Do you know most of the words, or
Oh,
that
Isaac Zumba, Zumba,
Zumba
Zay,
Zumba, yeah,
Zumba,
Zumba
Zumba,
Zumba.
Zay. I couldn't even tell you the whole thing, but Isaac Zumba is it's a legendary song.
Yeah.
Roll along, you
Oh,
BG
you
boys.
BG
See, it'll come back.
Warriors, roll along. We go to
Long and buck for
BGSU,
BGSU. Yeah,
right?
it'll all come back, and it was hockey, man. When we were there, hockey was everything. Football was still kind of struggling. Baseball was struggling. Soccer was always okay, but it's a hockey school,
Mm.
and being in the barn in Bowling Green, it's not a lot like it. Western Michigan comes down, St. Cloud comes down, top 10 matchups. Whew, I think it gets rolling.
I seen guys and girls walk around where with the t-shirt that simply says "I Ziggy."
Yeah,
And with my dad and mom having gone there, my dad would sing that all the time. And of course, when you're a kid, you make fun of your dad. And my son plays for Ball State, and their
mm,
team played at BG last year. So I went out, watched the
nice.
game, met up with my brother, um, campus poly eyes for
Mm,
breadsticks, and then there's B Dubs is pretty famous there for
yeah,
all the fun. And I'd been there when I was in my undergrad back in 96, 97.
there you go.
The girl I'm dating at the time, her friend's brother played rugby. And similar to hockey, rugby's kind of a big
Mm,
deal
yes.
over at BG. And we were there, and this new guy scored his first try. And I'm pretty sure they pantsed him in the bar, and he had to drink beer out of his boot. And I'm like, this place is outstanding. This is going to be so much fun.
Sounds
So
like Bowling Green, yeah.
the rugby culture and then like BG in general just kind
Yeah,
of
fair.
blue collar, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, BG is just this weird little niche, and I, you're right, from just North Ann Arbor. Plot twist though, not a Michigan fan. To make that clear early.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's an odd for that area, but sister went to Michigan State. She's older than me, so I kind of had that older sister influence taking me to the dark side early. I just couldn't. But you're a Buckeye, you won't get this because you guys are all insane too. But I just couldn't handle the fandom.
Yeah.
Like
They're
couldn't
so
handle the
obnoxious.
we are the best team in the world
Right.
concept. So definitely had a bias towards Sparty, but yeah, and then knew I wanted to study marine biology, and weirdly enough, Bowling Green has a great marine biology program, which makes zero sense for being in the middle of cornfields in Northwest Ohio. But a lot of it is freshwater biology too, and obviously having the lakes right there is pretty convenient. But I was a saltwater biologist, but I went down to tour, just regular pre college tour, see what it was all about. Went down with my mom, and I absolutely hated it. I was like,
Mm.
"This, why would people come here?
Yeah.
It's a cornfield, and then just dropped in the middle of nowhere, there's a university, and it's a good size, like it's a nice average size school. It's not too small, it's not too big,
Yep.
um, But so yeah, I didn't love it going into it, but I knew the program was really good. I really liked the professors that I was going to have, and the shape that the future was kind of looking for me. So I was like, all right, I'll go. We'll see what happens. And I think maybe 4 months in, I called my mom. I was like, I'm never leaving this place. This place rocks.
That's
Like
awesome.
it's the people there are, first off, incredible. The sports culture is really good, but obviously, yeah, they're known for their parties and known for rugby being rugby.
Yeah. You made a number of points. Michigan, Ohio State fans, I'm the first one to say that they're terrible, obnoxious, don't want to be
Sure.
around them. And I like my team and all, but they really put it on you and in your face, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, come on, man.
That's what matters to me, though. As long as you can admit, you're like, hey, we know we're being egregious about this,
Yeah, they are.
then I'm cool. We can be
Yeah.
cool. Like, support your team.
For most people, just be honest, and we're gonna get along fine. And similar to you, like I went to
Yeah.
Purdue, that same deal. It's a college town in the middle. There's corn and beans in
Yep.
Indiana, and you're here now, so you know what that's like. So you have an option. You could win because you work with Team USA. You can win a gold in volleyball or as a coach, or you can win a gold in beach volleyball. Which one do you prefer?
Whew. Indoor. Definitely indoor. The
Why?
indoor space is so competitive.
Yeah.
There's so many incredible teams. Turkey's so good. Japan's incredible right now. China's always good. Brazil's getting better. It really, really would take a lot, to win on the indoor side. So yeah.
Hmm. Isn't it a little weird being one of the smallest guys? Because if you're 6'3", like I'm 6'3", I'm looking up at a lot of people, and when they're wearing
It
heels, like
is.
there's 5 women in my family that are 6 feet, but like
Yeah.
my God, those people they're
It's
just built different,
Oh yeah, and obviously I've climbed from club to now pro.
right?
Obviously, the heights get bigger every single year. Taking each step from that. And in my normal, I mean, I'm 6 foot, maybe 6'1" on a good
Yeah,
day. My normal life, I feel great.
yeah,
I'm definitely one of the tallest guys in my group, and I go to work, and I am the absolute shortest person in the room in
yes.
every conversation. But I love it. I absolutely love it. It's cool. They're incredible athletes, and that's what we want to work with.
So your team wins, Indy Ignite wins the whole thing, and you guys are going out to eat in Indianapolis. But
Ooh,
Brett, being the technical coordinator, which is coach speak for the nerd aspect of coaching, which I like
yeah.
quite a bit. But hey, since you're technical coordinator, you got to pick where we're eating in Indy, and you're
Ooh.
so supposed to be like the guru of.
After a championship.
You get to pick, man, because someone's going to open
Oh
up a checkbook and write
yeah,
up, take care of a big tab. But where do you want to go?
I'm going to Vita. It's on the east side.
Okay,
Absolutely love it. You got to check it out.
sounds Italian.
It's contemporary Mexican more so, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah,
what's so great
very.
about it?
I think it's by far the most care taken in the food in Indianapolis. Like the care and the effort and the design is top tier in my opinion. I'm a big foodie, so I've done the Indianapolis tour of food every week. That's one thing I will splurge on always, and I love Vita. Um,
All right, so now you're an athlete, and it's a regular Thursday, and so you don't have a lot of, you don't have hours and hours for a big sit down. But like these athletes, when they're working so hard at so long, the calorie burn rate's high, so you need volume.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
Where does Brett go for food for volume?
Oh, Fogo. You got to go Fogo de Chao downtown and
Right?
strap in where you lose pants and
Bring a little towel because the meat sweats,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no doubt.
So now
You got to
the ring.
hydrate prior. That's my key at Fogo. You got to hydrate early, get it all sitting right.
So now the team wins, and they're bringing everybody on the court the next year, and the rings are coming out, and Brett picks his walkout song. And everybody gets
Ooh,
their first like 1 minute, 60-second blurb as they introduce everybody, and you pick a walkout song. And all the girls are coming behind you because they're the actual ones that won it. You're just a good-looking guy
yeah,
that does all the nerd stuff, right?
yeah. They do the work.
So what's the walkout song?
Oh, wow. It's probably got to be something old. Probably some Mac Miller. Oh man, Senior Skip Day by Mac Miller. Nike's on my feet. Something like that. Old
Gotcha.
school.
All right,
Yeah.
nice. So just walk me through basics. Marine biologists haven't played volleyball.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna coach it. at the club level and then win AAU. Like, how do you go? How do you decide I'm going to start doing this and then get good at
Yeah,
it and then do well?
sure. Yeah, you got to start at the beginning, man. I was born, uh, and right away I knew I wanted to be a biologist. I mean, you can ask anybody in my family. I was 2 years old, 3 years old. It is all I've ever wanted to do. I've always loved the ocean. I love the water. I'm definitely more on the introverted side than the extroverted side, and so I'm very content being underwater all day with fish rather than in a large room of people. So it's just always what I wanted to do, and I've been super blessed. I have an incredible family, and they've given me great opportunities to travel and see the world and really dive into what marine biology looked like prior to having to make that decision post college. So I went to Australia when I was a junior in high school on a people to people ambassador program, which is an incredible travel program for youth that does a pretty good job of kind of teaching life lessons while also exploring. And that took me there for about a month, I want to say, and that was my first trip to Australia, and that just double solidified that I knew I was doing the right stuff. So ended up choosing BG to go there just because of that program, and they had a specialty, and so continued to love it all through college, and was loving it playing club ball, club baseball, and doing that. But I was athletic, and it was fun. And you know how college is, like you go to the beach court on the weekends and play with the boys. So I was playing pickup volleyball just for fun.
Mhm.
Um, and how it worked out is that then my junior year of college, I did a study abroad in Fiji, and I was living in Fiji for 6, 7 months. Went over there, worked in a research lab, got to study some oceanography stuff and some coral propagation, and I loved it. But I was a workhorse. My dad raised me right, and I loved to work. So even when I was in college, I would work, Walmart in the mornings, pushing carts from like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., go to class from 10 to 2 p.m. Right at 2 p.m., I'd go to another job, and then I'd go valet at the casino until 3 a.m. Like I wanted to work at all times. And I don't know where that came from, truly, just having two great parents that always did the same thing and were always grinders. So I'm living in Fiji, 6 months in, know I'm coming home in December, and I couldn't really hold any of those part-time gigs as a junior in college for the seven. Be like, hey, call me in 7 months. That's not happening. They're finding some other guy to push the dang cart. So my buddy just happened to text me that I had played pickup volleyball with. He was doing his internship at this club in Toledo, this AAU club, Premier Volleyball Academy, and he's like, hey, we're real short on coaches. Like, we need bodies. You don't have to do anything. You got to literally just stand there and enter balls. You got to be able to hit a down ball. I was like, well, one, can't do that. Can't hit a controlled down ball. Like, I can hit a ball, but it's not. I couldn't tell you where it's going. I was just an athlete at that point. I was young, springy, still 6 foot in shape. It was great. But for me, I was like, send me the hours, send me the pay. If it fits in the schedule, I'm all in. Like, and so just kind of ended up working out. So came home, joined this AAU club as just a side guy, assistant coach. I was luckily paired up with their number one guy and just kind of studied under him. And then it blew up. I hate being bad at things, and every single person in that gym wanted to be a college coach, wanted to be pro, wanted to either play college volleyball and then is coming back. I was by far the weak link. Like, it wasn't close, and that rubs me the wrong way. I am not wired to be that person. And so after, 5, 6 months, I had fallen in love with it, and I just hated being that guy, you know? And I was like, all right, like, I got to at least get good at this for the rest of my college career. I got like a year left, and I was like, if I'm going to work here, and I loved it. I loved the people, so I wanted to stick with it. So I was like, all right, I got to get good. I got to at least, bring some value to the gym. And so just, always paying attention and always doing the extra work, and found myself a little bit more confident at the club level, and knew what I was doing. Every year, get a new team paired with a new master coach, and, you get to learn from each of them. And then COVID hit, and I was coaching the 17s that year that I ended up winning the whole thing with. And we weren't even sure if we were going to AAU nationals at that point,
Sure.
because COVID hit in March, and AAU's is in like mid to late June at the time. So, just lucky to even go down there and be able to compete that year. And it was truly just a will of destiny. Like, candidly, and I would say this to the girls that were on the team, they know, like, we were not supposed to win that tournament. Everybody knew it. We were not ranked well. We were not a high seed. We just played great at the right time. And it was an absolute incredible experience. And that's where it really changed for me. I was like, oh, I like this a lot. And so yeah, ended up going on full time with that club out of Toledo after college. I had made the choice. I was like, all right, the director there, her name's Jody Schramm. She's a legend. She's done it for forever in the club space, and I knew that with her and her mentorship, I just had the right people around me. You know, from my number one guy that I was training under, Ben Migled, who's been in the club space for forever too. I just knew they were going to take care of me and teach me what I needed to know. They were the right spot for me. So I was like, I can always go back to biology if in a year, 2 years I don't like this, like I'll pick up the phone and have a job in biology because I was already working in biology in college. So decided, hey, let's take the jump. Dad didn't love that decision very much, but that's okay. Still love him. He was a little nervous about it after 12 years of me telling him that I was going to be a marine biologist my entire life and then just hanging it up. But worked out in the end, huh?
I guess
So
so. Any pangs of guilt working for the Rockets, Toledo, when you went to BG? That's the biggest rivalry. It's like Ohio State,
yeah,
Michigan, right?
yeah.
And the distance is pretty close. It's like an hour away, maybe not even. I don't know.
No, not even. Yeah, probably only a 30 to 40 minute drive. I was
Okay.
living right when I graduated, and I was working at this club. It's kind of right in between. It's in Maumee, Perrysburg,
Yeah.
so it's splitting the difference pretty much straight up. Uh, and I was a full time staff member at Premier, and the University of Toledo was adding a tech position. This was right when the tech wave was coming through volleyball. We kind of all saw it in NFL, right, when everybody went to like the Microsoft Surface tablets and you saw a lot more sideline tech going on. NFL hit their wave. Volleyball's wave of tech was kind of that 2020 space, 2019 space. So they had called. They knew me just being in the area. They knew I liked the analytical side. They were like, "Hey, we're adding this position. You want to do it?" Jason Oliver was the head coach there at the time, and I think it was Monday of a week, and he's like, "We start on Friday. Uh, Figure it out." Like in
Wow.
the best way. In the best way. Yeah, learning how to code in a whole coding system and a whole old data volley system at that point was not easy. I think I fell asleep with a textbook on my face like three of those 5 nights. And I
Wow.
was absolutely not ready to go on the Friday, but he knew that he was pushing me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started the season that Friday, and I joined on and just joined into another incredible staff with great experience and great teaching skills. And so every one of these steps is the credit to why I'm here where I am today. All of these people are a huge part of why I made it.
I would. I watched this documentary on the NFL because you mentioned how they got very technical with the sidelines. They would have a phone on the sidelines, but now they have iPads, like you said. It started like back in the 60s and 70s. They would have this wire going from a press box or a suite down to the field, and they would take these pictures with the camera, what the formation looked like, and then the picture would develop really quickly like a Polaroid, and they would stick it in this Chuck Taylor or PF Flyer shoe, the picture in the shoe, and then they would
Hmm.
tie like the shoestrings together, put it around the wire, and then send the shoe down. So here's
Wow.
here's a picture of the formation with some note on the back, and that's how they would first start sending their communications back and forth. It was ridiculous,
Wow.
and
That is
now it
wild.
now it's way more advanced. I'm wondering because I look for correlations and fitting things together, and with the show and all, my background's finance, but it's really analytical. But now we do a lot more mindset and physical stuff with athletes. The marine biology thing is a precise approach. You have to look at data. There's science involved, and
Yep.
once you get your information, then you got to be able to run the spreadsheets and regression analysis and all that jazz. So there's a big nerd factor there that is not, volleyball, football, or whatever, but it's that skill set of be able to manipulate data, utilize spreadsheets, and then find trends. So I got to think that some of that, at least that skill set, you're not looking at fish or coral reef,
Yeah.
right? But that skill set's is probably what is carrying you in that technical role because you have
Yeah. You're
that
100% right.
that brain that works that way, right?
100% right. Yeah, it's I think what really helps me and has always helped me and what makes me kind of unique and has allowed me to kind of climb faster than a lot of people my age or even that didn't play is like I didn't play the sport. So I going into it and still to this day pride myself on the fact that I really try to have no bias. A lot of people, and I'm not saying that people that play the sport are bad coaches. Some of the best coaches are people that play the sport. Some of the worst coaches are people who play the sport. It does not have a correlation, in my opinion. But what's really valuable and unique to me is that I wasn't taught that way when I was 8 because I played, or like my 12U coach didn't tell me that this is the way that it's done. So I have no preconceived notions on this is the way that you should pass a volleyball. This is the way that you should do X, Y, and Z. And so with the biological side of kind of the analytics, hey, let's just do it as best we can.
Sure.
If you want to do it X way and you want to do it Y way, I'm totally fine with it because you two are different athletes and that's good. And I think one of the biggest skills a tech person and a data driven person needs is being able to find the numbers that you have to ignore. Not paying attention to numbers is one of the most important numbers jobs there is. We get a ton of data. Especially in today's day and age, you can pull so much data, and 90% of it doesn't really matter. It's not really going to help you win. It's about finding the golden nugget or two that are very correlated to points on board and winning. So being able to ignore data is really important to me.
I worked at a hedge fund and I was a trader, and I was the technical analyst, and you can get in that data mining trap where numbers never lie, but they don't tell the whole story, and you can keep
Exactly.
manipulating the data until it tells you what you want it to say.
Exactly.
And you made a different point, so you're starting off in volleyball kind of, not as a mistake, but like really, like what are you doing here, kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
If your buddy would have called you and said, "Hey, man, we need someone to fill in a chair at the local symphony orchestra. You're going to hold a violin, and you're just
Yep.
competitive." Do you end up just learning how to be,
One.
in a string quartet, and now you're playing
Yeah.
in an orchestra because you're that competitive?
Yeah.
But
I better be the first chair in 3 weeks, but we'll
right
see. Yeah.
now, if you're with the right people, because you'll have athletes that are with the wrong people that the coaches don't like them or there's a bias against them. Sometimes those athletes don't play. And
Yep.
sometimes the athlete's not very good, but they do play because there's a bias, whether it's a family bias with nepotism or someone just thinks, I recruited this person and my guy doesn't play. This other person plays ahead of the person I recruited. Maybe their ego is on the line. But if you're with the right group and you're unbiased, where you're just objectively evaluating the talent or the situation, that's really obviously optimal. Now, but we're all humans, and it's almost
Yeah.
impossible to be robotic. So how do
Yeah.
you mesh that? Here's what the brain says. Here's what my eyes and heart feel. Now we got to come up with some decisions. How do you guys do that?
Yeah. I think collaboration is obviously huge. And patience is huge. I think I'm a very, in my personal life, even, not just my professional, I'm a very level guy. Like I don't do high highs, I don't do low lows. I just operate in this space because that's where I feel good, and I feel that I don't say something I don't believe in. And I think you got to think things through. You got to look at it. If you get data back, you got to search one, two, three things more. And so collaboration of like, hey, I'm seeing this, you guys seeing it. I think when you have two or three minds in a room and they all see the same thing, you're probably right. You know, you're all on the same page. It's when you start to disagree that you really have to hang your pride up, and you've got four great coaches in a room and we all disagree on who the starting outside hitter should be. That's when you got to get unprideful, and you got to really dive into data or feel, or how does she make the other people around her play. Maybe it's not about her position, maybe it's about somebody next to her. And so yeah, I think patience and calmness is huge. Actually last year, for the first time I've ever seen it, I went preseason. College is in season right now. They just finished up preseason. Big Ten started last night, actually. And so being in pro now gives us a pretty good opportunity during the fall to see college volleyball from kind of the outside. So during preseason last year, I just kind of went on a road trip saw my friends, saw some, big time college matches, got to spend some time in some practice gyms. And I was in a gym. I won't even say who, but I was in a gym and they had played a pretty good match, and they had actually won. And then the next morning, they got absolutely kicked in by a team they should have never lost to. And in both scenarios, their head coach didn't talk to them post game. And I had never seen that before. And I was like, that's really interesting. So I asked him about it later, and he said, every time I go in there, I speak with my heart instead of speaking with facts. I think a lot of coaches, it's a 7 p.m. game. We go on a 5-set thriller. Now it's 10 o'clock and we lose to barn burner. You might say something you're not going to get back. You might regret. Your team might, never let down. You can get angry in there. And also, you may just be wrong. Maybe we think our passing broke down, and you go back and watch it on film the next morning, and you're like, oh, our passing was plenty fine. We couldn't side out, or our first ball efficiency wasn't good enough, whatever it may be. We're often very wrong in the moment. It's only when you can go back and really dive in and analyze that you can guarantee that you have the facts straight. So he didn't talk to him, and I thought that was really interesting. You don't see that very often. He was like, they're college kids, but he called them professionals. They're professionals. They show up to play. They played. The result, I can't do anything about the result. We lost. So go see your families. Go be great for our program. You got to go out, see some fans, sign some autographs, do some stuff. Go do that. And then how do we not lose? Well, that's a morning thing. That's a morning meeting. We're gonna have the same morning the meeting that we would have tonight. Just tomorrow mornings is going to be way more accurate and way less passion instead
Gotcha.
of. And I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if I could ever go full jump on that ship. But I thought it was really interesting to see it.
I would not do that. I would weight it. Maybe instead of 0% meeting,
Yeah,
maybe give them something after the game, and then hey, we'll come back tomorrow and then we'll dive into it.
yeah.
We would
Meet it in
have
the
you,
middle a little
have
bit.
your after action reports later once you have the information and you look at
Yeah,
the film and the numbers. But when the team's hurting, you want to be there and lead them, and when they're winning, you want to make sure that they're still focused. So
it
you
was
still want
interesting to me.
to,
But
yeah,
I asked a player or two, because I had two or three that I actually had previously coached on that team, transfer portal, all that stuff. And I was like, how does that make you guys feel? How does the locker room feel about that?
yeah,
Not even in a negative way, just truly prodding as a coach and as a
yeah,
friend to somebody. And they were like, we actually love it. Like we totally understand his reasoning for it. And we know what he would have said if he were to do something like that, where it's just kind of short and sweet, like, "Hey, we didn't, get this one tonight. Like, we like, cool, we're gonna regroup." We know that we're
yeah,
all, high level athletes. We know the speech, so we're okay. We lost. We understand that. That's part of high level competition. You're gonna lose. That's
yeah.
it's part of it. So I was very intrigued by their answers being so positive. And I think I agree that's a biased statement of being like, I wouldn't do that. Like, yeah, that's personal, but like if his entire team is supportive of it and it almost makes them feel better, I was like, but all for it. You got to get your team on board with the concept, no doubt.
Sure.
But they were, and I was like, check, cool.
Yeah, if his approach is the whole team has to eat an orange popsicle and do a headstand for a minute and they win, then hey, whatever. I don't
Yeah,
care. Let me ask you this. We've had multiple female volleyball players on before, and
yeah,
we've had multiple female athletes at college and other coaches. And I asked the pro volleyball girls, and they both had a similar answers. What's it take to get to that high level? There's going to be obviously there's the sacrifice and all the work you put in. They also pointed out about lifting, and some girls didn't lift, so they weren't that strong, or they were prone to injury. So they had different components like that.
yeah,
Mindset, knowledge, or sport, whatever. They both specifically said that growing up and all the way to the top, there's a significant amount. The word they used was toxicity, where people are catty and bullshit, and they kind of pick on each other. And he said, you know what? Some years, all I had to do was just keep improving a little bit at a time. And the people that we were always fighting with, well, the next year they just quit the sport. They didn't come back.
yeah,
And the next year I did it again, and we lost a few more. So they say it's lonely at the top. Well, there's so much attrition because as you get further and further along, some people are just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out.
yeah,
So if you sometimes you just outlast those other folks, the next thing you know, you're the only one standing.
yeah.
So it's a hard question and it's broad, but talk about what you've seen and how you, because culture's everything.
Yeah.
Like you said, the team should have won and they got beat and they shouldn't have done that. So culturally, mindset wise, they got beat that day. So sometimes you can play above your level and sometimes you play below your level. Talk about that aspect and any advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in the youth, all
Sure.
sports, not
All
even just,
100% all
yeah,
sports.
all
Boys,
sports.
girls, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
whatever. Yep.
We all see it on social media. We all see the toxicity that they're talking about. It's very political down there now. What club you play for is wildly important. Who you're being coached by,
Right.
all that stuff. But now what it's turned into is you have 14-year-old kids driving 2.5 hours round trip practice just to be at a certain club versus another, and that stuff does partially matter, but it is also insane when you look at it on paper.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, it's tough in the youth space, and I do think that you do have to trust that you got to stick with it. But the problem is that we're leading it into a very selfish space at the youth, right? Like very focused on me instead of focus on team, and then we're missing out on some pretty critical team skills by the time they get to college because now their whole club and high school career was only focused on themselves because there was so much pollutant around them.
Right.
So there's definitely consequences of what we're building here. But yeah, I mean, it's always a you project, in these club spaces and even high school spaces. You have to manage you,
Yep.
and not every high school coach has the ability to focus on coaching. A lot of them are teachers. A lot of them have other,
Sure.
jobs and gigs. So I am a big advocate, even when I work with you stuff or clinics or stuff like that. I want to teach them how to teach themselves.
Yep.
I don't want to teach them. I really don't want to teach them anything. I only want to teach them how to teach themselves and crack their own code. How hey, this happened. Okay, you tell me why. And the power of why to me is wildly important. So if they miss hit a serve or something like that, they'll be like, oh, well, went way right or whatever. I'm like, why? And they just
Yeah.
stand there with blank faces. They're like, I can't answer that. I'm like, how can you not answer that? You've been playing this sport for 5 years, you know?
Right.
And they're like, okay, well, it went way to the right. Maybe my toss was that. I was like, that's a good proposal. Are you 100% positive that's true? And they're like, no. I'm like, all right, so what else could it be? And then you just go down this chain and like, oh, okay, so my hand contact was bad. I'm like, all right, why was your hand contact bad? And they're like, well, I don't know. And you just keep going down this chain of, that's true. Okay, why? Why did it happen? And then at some point, you're going to get to the bottom of it. And they're like, oh, so that's what I have to change to fix this thing that is 7 steps away. And that process is not taught enough at the youth level, in high school, or club. They have to be able to teach themselves.
I love that skill. And I think if you have that, you're killing people because you're so advanced. That root cause analysis skill
Yes.
is so rare. They talk about 7% kids playing college, 2% play D1. I'm going to
Mm.
say like 2% can do the root cause analysis skill.
Yeah.
So even in my book, like one of the first early chapters is the 7 levels of why, because we want to know why are you even here? Why are you playing this sport? Well, because it's fun. Well, because I want this girl
Yeah.
to look at me. Because my parents want me to, or my friends are doing it, or it's fun to beat people. But you got to get down to the real reason why we're playing that hot button. Now we're going to be able to get you to work if we can
Right.
tap into that. You're in sales. Why are we really doing this addition on our house? Well, because of this. No, what's the real reason? What's the reason? I can tell you why we did a back porch addition on my house. My wife and I are out there all the time in the woods on this back porch just hanging out. So we socialize more together and it's a big family thing. So when you get to that root cause
Right.
analysis of anything, well, then the problem's really getting fixed. And if
Fast, too.
right, and if you could
Yeah.
teach them that, because I think so much in today's learning culture is zombies. Zombies. Here's
Yes.
your information. Here's your study sheet the night before the test. Was essentially like you stealing the questions and answers back in my day, but I'm 50. Here's all the questions and answers the day before the test, like you stole it.
Yeah.
And so then all you have to do is memorize it and spit it back. Memorization, lowest form of learning, right? Can
Yes.
you analyze and figure out what's going on? And when you can teach these girls or guys to do that, man, Brett, that's huge. That is life changing huge. Because when I tell people, let's say I get hit by a bus and I'm dead and gone, and you're not improving anymore in the gym or in your nutrition, what happened? You got to be able to
Right.
figure out. You got to figure out what's going on here, or you quit winning, right? Why? What's going on?
Why?
And that's huge. So you've been working with that for those with people your whole life, teaching them that,
Yeah, but I think it's like that's a very logical answer to me. It doesn't seem that like
right?
far-fetched to not understand because I come from this just like logic and reason side of coaching.
Sure,
Like we have a problem, how do we fix it? Well,
right?
on a board you can get there. It's just a chain of things, but that comes from mathematics, right? Like it's a math equation written in words. So yeah, but I think it's so valuable, especially for the youth too. Like if you're 14 and you learn how to do that before a 16-year-old does, you'll be better than her in 2 years.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah, so it's so valuable, and that's one of the coolest parts about coaching at the pro level now, instead of college even or high school or club or whatever. Um, most athletes at this level kind of have that, and so it's more of a presentation than hey, I want you to do it this way. Obviously, for Ignite, we have pillars that we want to play. We want to play incredibly fast. We want to be physical. We want to play aggressively. We're okay with making errors, stuff like that. But how you approach, I don't really care. Like if you want to do a 4-step or a 3-step, cool. If you want to get into an early draw, cool. That stuff is kind of up to you. I don't really mind it, but you do have to have standards. But most of it now at this level is like, hey, I learned this in China. The Chinese were doing this in 2016, and this is how they taught it. This is another way that I saw at a university on the West Coast, because West Coast volley is very different than East Coast volley, and you kind of just present this platter of options. If they're
yeah.
if they have a specific struggle, hey, my arm isn't getting around quick enough. Okay, here's 6 options. Let's try 6, and you run science experiments for all of them. Right? You take 20 reps this way, and you're like, hey, I didn't like this. I didn't like this. I like this. I like this. And you just kind of narrow it down at this level, which is the part that I really like about being at this level. You don't have to, in my opinion, some coaches definitely don't agree with that, and that's okay. Everybody's got their own coaching philosophies, and some people want to play their way, and that's the only way to do it. Cool. That's totally fine. It's just not my way. Um,
Depends on the level of athlete. Obviously, someone who's just
yes.
learning the sport, you're going to micromanage how they tie their shoes.
Yes.
After a while, at the pro level, you're going to say, hit the ball to the open area,
Yeah.
and put
Score.
score and put the ball down. Like
You know how to do
you
it.
can be a lot more broad because the IQ is so much higher.
Yes.
And then when you have that enough years, those 10,000 reps, they would say, those 10,000 hours, whatever, of experience, then they know what they need to know about how to play. That's when they could then be creative, make some adjustments. Like even like Larry Bird in basketball, normally you keep your shooting arm vertical right in front of your face. Well, he pulls it back over his one side of his head, behind his head a little bit, and by his ears, so it wouldn't get blocked. Like fundamentally, it's not taught like that. But for him, he worked it out, and that's how he would shoot.
Mhm.
So, like you said, whether it's a 3-step drop or a 4-step drop, at that point, there's such a high level. Hey, well, for me, this works, and that is absolutely okay. I had another question about the youth because this is kind of near and dear to my heart. And I have a niece. My wife has a niece. They both play high school. They both play travel. One plays for Muncie, I
Yep.
guess.
Montana.
But
Yep.
but they already moved her to Ball State. And I guess Ball State has their own volleyball program for high school
Yep.
kids, and she already plays for the I guess the college somehow, but she's in high school. Anyways, at that level, they play, in my opinion, like a college level of volume, and some of them are only 14 years old, right?
Yep.
And force is mass times acceleration. If you're weak, you're going to get hurt, or if you're weak, you're just going to suck.
Yeah.
So they're doing all this volume and they're not lifting. Trap bar deadlifts, squat, box squat, build up your legs, lunges, and then once you're stronger, then you can absorb force on the way down, and you can exert more force into the floor. And I've been screaming from the mountaintops to these coaches, hey, not as much practice, have them lift 2 or 3 days a week, a little bit, and their longevity will be way better. Injury rate will be much lower, less ACL tears, less Achilles blown out. Give me your thoughts on that, Brett.
Yeah. Oof, that is a load of a question.
Right?
Wow. Yeah. Uh, I think we see it in all sports in
Yep.
youth right now is overtraining. I do think that we don't still have a very, and I haven't done a ton of research on it, but we keep track of it. I don't think we have a great answer yet on like when the actual time we should have start like heavy lifting kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, typically most people believe it is in the 15 to 17 range, not really trying to sniff into the 14 range when
Yeah.
you're really moving heavyweight. But that doesn't mean you can't be lifting.
Right.
But you probably shouldn't be max deadlifting, when you're 14 years old.
Okay.
Um,
No problem.
so, so yeah, we have to lift earlier, and stretching is so boring, but also flexibility is like the number one uh, like injury prevention thing for me, especially in volleyball. And true in football too. I feel like if you are wildly flexible, you are probably not going to get injured unless it's not something that's in your control, a contact play or something like that. So I think it is wildly gross how much we are playing youth athletes on the weekends, especially at club tournaments. They're playing 5, 6 matches a day sometimes on concrete floors
Mhm.
covered by sport courts and convention centers.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if there's a scientist or a doctor in the country that tells you that that's a really good idea for the knees. I just can't see it happening. Can't see somebody walking in and being like, yeah, that amount of jumps was good for that athlete today. And then you
Sure.
get into a college, and we've got a lot of jump tech now. There's a lot of jump technology and load management technology that's coming up. And you're looking at like 130 quality forceful jumps in a practice. And kids are
That's a
playing 6 matches. Like, how's that possible? She's taken 50 swings in warm-ups alone.
yeah.
So it's baffling. And I think that's agreed upon. I don't think that's a hot take by any means in the club space for volleyball specifically.
Okay.
Parents know it, players even know it, coaches even know it. But more matches means more money for tournaments, and that's how it works. So they're companies, and they want money. But wow, if I was running a youth volleyball team or a high school team, people would be probably mad at me for how little we would practice.
Yes. And
Yeah,
they would smash people.
yeah, yeah.
They would smash
Two
people.
maybe two days a week, two film. Like you can always be in film, and you can always weight lift or cardio or strength train or like. But I don't know. Yeah,
They
it's
get
a
plenty
loaded
of
question, but
they get plenty of cardio and practice in games.
mhm.
Now, for power and speed, you want some springiness. You don't want to be sprung. You want some tightness. You can't have super loose and absorb. You want
Fair.
to have like so if you want to, jump or sprint, you got to have some level of tightness. You can't be too flexible, otherwise you won't have that component. We had Jeremy Hartman on. I don't know if you know him. He runs Hartman Sports Performance, Columbus, Indiana. He competed internationally in powerlifting. Trains a lot of youth, sports performance, mostly just lifting though. Adults as well. The big three lifts, and like he smashed people all growing up in lifting, and trained at Westside Barbell, super strong. And I go, how'd you get so far ahead of everybody? And he has this approach which I take with our young kids at the gym, which I just love his approach. He goes, luckily, the guy down the street, his sons were my best friends, and they were all wrestlers, and his dad was a strength coach. So I would hang out with them at their house, and we would lift. I go, what would you lift? He goes, nothing that you would think like barbells and dumbbells. We're just doing farm boy stuff of carrying things, whether it's hay bales or whatever, but we're pushing sleds and we're carrying things that take almost no intelligence.
Yeah,
Pick things up and walk, lean forward and walk or walk backwards. So it's just building that raw strength in your tendons and your ligaments and then also your muscles. And he goes, I just did that all through junior high. It was until I was a sophomore that we started actually using the barbell in school, back squat,
yeah.
deadlift, power clean, whatever. And I was like 100, 200 pounds ahead of everybody just because I had this raw strength. So you could take a team with some sleds and some things to carry and do a ton of work
Hmm.
quickly, safely, and make an impact. Is my big sales pitch to the world.
And it's also not like high tech. You don't need high tech stuff. You don't need a nice weight facility if you're a high
Now,
school. You don't need if you're a club team and you don't have the best stuff. Like, I mean, kind of going back to Fiji, like being in Fiji, like you walk past a 14-year-old boy in Fiji, and I would think he was a 48-year-old man that was going to kill me. They're the nicest humans over there, but he could flick me, and I would have bounced off of the wall. And these
yeah,
guys are just throwing around rocks.
Yeah.
Like they had a pretty sick the rugby team trained right outside of where we were living, and you know how those rugbies work over there, and the All Blacks in New Zealand. Like I've been there twice, which was pretty cool. I got to do some stuff over there with them, and they don't do anything fancy but move weight.
Yeah. Tonga, all those Polynesian countries, whether it's like you said, Fiji and Samoa, like
Mhm.
they're just moving things like that. And there's body weight things you can do, especially with kids. But yeah, the basic stuff of hauling stuff, just
Yeah,
hauling stuff.
yeah.
Um, at
And I think that's
changing,
great for general mass. Like
yes, yes,
the thing that's really specific about volleyball is that we have to move. We're a very explosive sport.
yep,
It's very short burst fast. So
sure.
it's all those same concepts, but the biggest thing that we'll throw like the curveball in is that we want to move weight fast.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't need you to pick up the 400-pound rock. I need you to pick up the 200-pound rock as
really
fast
fast.
as you possibly can and put it back down 50
Right.
times. You know. So but yeah, same concepts. Like
So at the higher level, you focus more on the power and speed. And so once you have that raw level of strength, you're good. Check that
yeah,
box. Just maintain it. You don't need a 500 squat. You keep your squat where it is, your deadlift or whatever, and you work on power movements with your jumps and death jumps, whatever. Um, I have in my notes here. It's pretty funny because changing topics, you know, the technical guy, the nerd guy, but he sends in the wrong rotations at Toledo. Like
oh yeah,
that's
that was it.
that's like saying up is down. Like just walk me
Yeah.
through a 5 set BG win with no serves and pass.
So
Um,
yeah,
so Toledo and BG, those two stories right there kind of stuck out with me.
yeah, and apt to what we were kind of just talking about load management. I'll throw my best friend under the bus here. He was in charge of just kind of figuring out when our serve and pass time was. So serve and pass happens before the actual match warm up start. It's just kind of an extended practice in the facility. And we thought we had the second serve and pass, but we actually had the first. So we were busting down to BG. We arrived and the court's empty and there's just 5 minutes on the clock, just kind of dwindling down, and nobody's on the court. And we're like, that's really weird. Typically, they should be out here right now, finishing up. And so we had walked in and they asked the director, "Oh no, you were on. We just assumed you were taking it." Because some people do not take it, but it was pretty rare at the time. It's a little bit more common now. We'll get into that. And so this is our
Whoops.
rivalry. You get it. This is our rivalry match. Like you need to get into arena, see it, feel it. Balls float differently. The backlighting's different in every arena, so it's pretty important. Uh, so I think we got out there for maybe 48 seconds. Like the girls just kind of dropped their stuff. Two of them didn't even have shoes on. They were like, "We just want to see a ball flight path. You know, I just want to see a ball and see what it looks like." That's all we really had time for. It was absolutely psychotic. And it was a big deal at the time because it just wasn't very normal yet. But we ended up going just barn burner. You know, everything was 25-23, long rally game. And we get into the fifth set. And we're pushing 2 hours and, 5 minutes at this point. And start of the fifth, we just start walking over them because we're still fresh. We had saved probably 45 jumps. We had saved 30 minutes on the floor. We had saved a dynamic warm up. We have saved one stretch and cool down because we didn't, train. And it was really interesting just to kind of watch the fatigue levels go. And I don't know, it's a guess. Maybe we were just wildly more well conditioned than them, but that's typically not the case. Every program's pretty darn good at it. But you could just see it. I mean, the athletes jumping wise, it wasn't close. Like you could see that team, BG, just kind of running out of gas, and we were still pretty fresh. And
Wow.
it all kind of came down to the fact that we didn't practice for 30 minutes prior, and they used their full serve and pass like they always did. And it kind of sparked a really interesting thing in my brain of like,
I
is
get to
this
see
even
it.
smart to
It's
be
gotta be the
doing?
wheels gotta be going, right?
Like why are we doing this?
Yeah,
Like, or do you want to retrain it? Because a lot of things just you see coaches doing it. This is the way it has been done, so this is the way we're going to do it. You have
sure.
a 30-minute serve and pass. You do this for 10 minutes. You do this for 5 minutes. If people want to take extra swings, they do it. Whatever. But we're getting into this space, and especially if you're in a really competitive league, and most of your matches are going to go, 4 or 5, or be a dogfight till the end. Like,
Yep.
how do you save up just an extra edge benefit? Like, why don't you change your warm up a little bit? So yeah, it was. I was trying to think of just stories from over the years, and that was one that popped in my head when it comes to load management. Like, there's always a way to get better in how we prep and do it differently. And I do think it matters, obviously, what level, what age. But if you're on match 4 of a club team, or match 5 of a club team tournament day, and I see your kids taking hitting lines, I want to just gouge my eyes out. I'm like, that's 28 jumps more that you didn't need. If she doesn't
Right.
know how to hit a volleyball by now, she's not going to learn it in the next 25 minutes. So
Right.
rest up, get ready to go.
Awesome. Love that. Let's talk a little bit in Indy Ignite, and shout out Lauren Jackson. Do you know who she is?
Yeah, I do. Her
The,
secret identity. Yeah.
right, the Superman alter ego kind of person with Indy Ignite. So here's how we know Lauren. My son plays football for Ball State, and she
Oh,
went to
cool.
school. She went to school there, and so Jack's finishing up. He'll have his MBA this December, and he's done. So year one, and he's not playing. He was a walk on. It was a COVID year. Comes out in 21. Like it's a nightmare. No one's allowed to even visit a D1 school that year. But you can visit all the D2, D3, all other schools. So he walks on, and so he's not. He's dressed for the games. He's traveling, but he's not playing. Right, and makes sense. We show up first home game, and we park in this one lot, and they're trying to be good hosts and build up the people that are going to the game. So they're sending students around in these little golf carts, taking people from their cars, right to the front door of the stadium. Hey, get in, get out, and then when you're done. So we're there with my in-laws, and they're in their 70s, and so here comes Lauren driving around his golf cart, and she picks me, my wife, and my in-laws up, and she takes us right to the gate and
Yeah.
drops us off. She's super sweet, and then we're done. She takes us to our car. My Jeep's out there with a Ball State flag like a big dork. And we kept seeing her like week after week. And now, having been college kids, and we have 6 kids of our own, we take pity on these college kids. They show up, man, sleep in their eyes, and it's noon, right, or one
Yeah.
o'clock. Who knows what they're doing the night
Yeah.
before? But they're always coming by our tailgate for free food. Like she'll send some guys over, and one kid will show up and literally say, "I heard you guys have food." That's it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so she was always super cool, and we saw her for 4 or 5 years, hanging out and supporting the team and her alter ego there. And so when she started working with Indy Ignite, I messaged her and said, "Hey, can you connect me with someone over there in PR because I want to talk to their coaches and have them on the show." And she
Mhm.
did that, and introduced me to Kathy and got us to you guys. So where is tell us about Indy Ignite, the season when it starts, where you think they're going, you know, strengths, challenges. Give us an overall, like if you're in front of ESPN and they say, tell us about the lineup and how things are looking this year for Indy Ignite, and
Yeah.
it's a little early. Tell us what your thoughts are on how it's growing here in town, et cetera.
Yeah. Going into year 2 here. So last year was our first season. We were the expansion team last year to make the league 8. And then this year, League 8 again with we dropped Las Vegas last year, and we added Dallas for this upcoming season. So we just kind of finished up free agency. So we signed 12. We got 12 incredible women and athletes coming in. We're super pumped about. I think we kept 7 from last year. I want to say I'm not 100% positive on the number, but we super happy with how our free agency went down. A lot of that free agency stuff, it matters, how you treat them when they come to your gym last year. Obviously, all these athletes play in every arena, and they want to be here because of how good Fishers has been to us. Fishers has supported us incredibly. The arena is incredible. I don't know if you've been up to that Fishers Event Center yet. Got to
Mm-mm.
get up there. It is stunning, brand new, obviously 2 years old now. Minor league hockey plays in there. They've got arena football now, all that stuff. So, and just how good Indy is with nonetheless women's sports,
Yeah.
but minor league sports and
Yes.
sports in general. It's a sports city, and so the support from Fishers, but also Indianapolis was incredible in year 1, and we're so pumped for it in year 2 as well. So that has been a huge success for us in the marketing space, and it makes athletes want to play here. So it makes my job really easy come free agency, because they know how fun this place is, and then we have really nice facilities and really good fan base. So really happy with our free agency, our 12 coming in, and then we will go into a draft here I got about a month and a half to get ready. Late November, we will draft. We draft directly out of the NCAA. So graduating seniors or grad students, anything like that, and 5 rounds of a draft. We traded away a draft pick last year, so we got 4 draft picks, which will bring us to 16 players, which is kind of right where we want to be going into training camp, which starts in December. So all our girls will report December 2nd, I think. We train for about 3-4 weeks before we make kind of final roster decisions, and then season starts beginning of January, and we go hot and heavy all the way to the mid-May. So it's about 4.5 months, which is a great load season in my opinion. 28 matches total, so not too much, not too little. And yeah, man, just excited to get. If year one was was that good, I'm so pumped for what year two looks like for us.
Nice.
And so a lot of that has a credit to do with the city and the front office staff. I have to shout them out because I really do candidly think we have the best front office in the league. And building a pro league is not easy. I cannot imagine. And I think Indy has done a fantastic job with the business side of volleyball. And our job is to handle the volleyball side.
Gotcha. Man, what a good answer to talking about your front office, because the front office, they're running everything, right? So the boss listens to the show. Good answer there, Brett. I like that.
No, they're crushing it. They're crushing it.
I haven't been there. My wife and I, we just like sports in general. We just like working or seeing athletes, and so we'll definitely need to come up there, see the facility, look around, and then,
Yeah.
catch some matches. That's gonna be fun. Um, I think one of her high school friends growing up, his daughter from Muncie, I think played on the team at least last year. I don't know if she's still on the team or not. I can't remember her name, and she told me
Kylie
the name.
Muir.
Yeah, that's it. That's what.
There you
Yep.
go. Yep.
Is she still with the team?
She is not with us. She signed in Dallas. She'll be down in the Dallas team for the expansion year, which is
Gotcha.
pretty cool. Kylie's incredible, great. Obviously, she went to Ohio State. Was a 4-year Ohio State starter. Was an incredible libero over there, and then transferred to Minnesota for her 5th COVID year.
Gotcha.
She's had an unreal career and is an awesome. So we're super. I mean, everybody. It's so cool that this league is one growing, but it's so fun for like even athletes to go play for other franchises. You obviously want the best for them always. And free agency, it's a business, and that's how it is in any pro league. You see it in the NFL and the MLB and the NHL. Like those guys like each other, even if they're on, opposing teams. And so we're for everybody that went to go play for another team. We're obviously super geeked for, but we're also geeked for bringing in some transfers per se. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
When you go into camp, if you're watching Hard Knocks, how many people are invited to camp and how many people make the team? Then do you have like a practice squad for them to play against? Like, how does that work in the volleyball space?
Yeah, so 12 is our roster minimum. 16 is our active roster cap. But during training camp, you can bring in well more than that. So most people will bring in some extras, some training camp invites, stuff like that. But you get it. And if you're trying to build a culture, your athletes have to trust you. And I personally, and I know Lauren, our head coach, doesn't think that bringing in 25 people to compete for 14 spots is healthy. Like if it's just a dogfight, everybody's on pins and nails, nobody knows what's going to happen. You got to trust. If you're doing that, I don't think you did your job in free agency to convince yourself that girl's good enough to win you the league. I know for a fact that we have athletes on our team that are good enough to win us the championship. And if you're still searching for 15 other kids just to bring them in and hunt them down, it doesn't create a good culture, in my opinion. So we try to keep it pretty small. We might bring in a few extra athletes, but we really don't want to make any cuts. But that's coach's opinion. That's just kind of how it works. So we like to keep our group pretty small and healthy. And obviously, if long-term injury, you can always go sign another player. And if we need to, we need to. But we're really happy with our 12 right now, and pumped to see what the draft brings us. And then we'll hit the floor hard come December.
I think you even have like international athletes that play, right?
Yeah, so in Pro League, you are allowed 3 internationals per team. And it's the exact opposite. It's European Pro Volleyball is kind of the hub, and it always has been the hub until USA added Pro Leagues 2-3 years ago. And now it's kind of drifting back this way, which is cool. But it's the same for them over there. They can only have 3 or 2 USA members for them, international wise. So, or else, it could turn ugly where you just bring in a bunch of international players and no Americans are able to play in their home state. You don't want that. So yeah, we're allowed 3, and you don't have to have 3. Last year we had 2. We'll see what we get this year, but
So you gotta have your own self-imposed tariffs, essentially, on the
Yeah.
league with
Yes.
other out of country athletes. What about like I remember like one of our guests, she played for Peru, and we had another
Yeah.
basketball coach that was doing a camp in Brazil, and neither one spoke Spanish, Peruvian, Brazilian. What about language barriers? Because
Yeah, it's tough.
that's got to be a thing, right?
Yeah, it's really hard. A lot of the Europeans speak English. It's not the other way around, right? Like the USA
Right.
is always it's always our problem.
Yes.
We are the ones who are always behind. But it's not really, yeah, we don't really run into it a ton. But yeah, if you're going overseas to play, that's where it gets pretty tough. Or if you're bringing in, if you're coaching NCAA wise, bringing in an international to be an 18-year-old freshman in college is tougher because of stuff like that. They're away from home, family, language barrier, and it's stuff you don't think about too that matters to them, like their bank account and stuff doesn't work. They have to set up a whole new banking system. They don't have a social security number, so it's a pain in the butt for a lot of bills and things like that. And it's just ease of living, so it's hard to be international. I know that from coaching them and having a pretty big role in college with internationals. It's been a blessing being able to travel, but it also means that they're like, oh, Brett understands visa processes and all of that stuff, so you can help them out over here. But I love it because obviously we want to bring incredible athletes over here and show them a really good time. And so I'm pumped to meet. We got an Italian middle coming over, which is going to be pretty exciting. So we'll see
Cool.
if we get any internationals out of the draft. But international volley is really good. And it always has been the powerhouse overseas. And so it's really cool that Americans get to play pro in America, and it's their childhood dream to be able to play pro in their backyard. And having Indiana players on Indy Ignite is an absolute dream to watch as a coach. Nonetheless, sit in the arena when they get announced, or local players. We got two Louisville kids. Obviously that's in our market, and the arena. They want to support hometown people.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute dream, and I know it's a dream for a lot of them to be able to play in their home state, even their home city, play the sport that they love growing up professionally, because it just wasn't an option, candidly, 5 years ago.
Yep. I'm looking through the roster and I'm like, oh, we have a Boilermaker. And since I went to Purdue, I'm like, well, shoot. Because you're right, people start identifying with, oh, you're from Ohio, I'm from Ohio. So you start thinking, oh, we're probably similar like people. Oh, you're from
Yeah.
Michigan, you're from Michigan. I went to Purdue, you went to Purdue. So people want that, and they right or wrong to start assuming there's that kind of connection, and so they start cheering for those hometown folks at all levels. Everything kind of matters, but at the top level, like inches really matter,
Mm.
right? And one of the pieces you talked about here, I always have our guests fill out some questions and stuff, and on the nutrition component, and you got people with different diets and from different countries and stuff. You wrote real athletes thrive in this space, in this nutrition space, and the top of the top, they're on top of this. And because like when you're 19, 20 years old, all those guys playing rugby, they can go and play all day long and drink a ton of beer.
Yeah.
But when you're a professional and you're 25 or 28, or you're a veteran, you're in your 30s and you're trying to still get it done, everything matters and your body handles things differently. Talk about just at the club level, some basics that, hey, these people should be working on nutrition wise, and what you see at the top level. So club level basics, and then at the top level, what are some things that you see?
Yeah. Playing in convention centers is like the hardest thing in the world, because you guys are just eating, chicken
Correct.
tenders as your option with French fries and all that stuff.
Nachos.
So, but you're seeing a lot more of people kind of finding ways around it and bringing their own food, and either going back outside to their car to eat a healthier snack. But yeah, I just think if you're a good athlete or an average athlete, you can get by with eating whatever you want. But joining at the pro level for 2 years, and even being in the Big Ten, obviously that's the top of the top. It's arguably the best conference for women's volleyball in the country, and it just matters. The good players are fine with it, but if you want to be great, if you can figure out the kitchen more than the court or the weight room, you have a massive competitive advantage. Absolutely
Massive,
massive.
massive competitive advantage. Write that down. Yes.
Yeah, I just think it's not easy. It takes dedication and effort and discipline, but it's not hard. It's not a hard feat. It's not something you can't do. There's limits on the court. You can't if you can't touch 10-6, you can't touch 10-6. It's just a fact until you work to it. But you can absolutely choose to eat an incredibly healthy meal that's really good and knowledgeable for your macros and what you're trying to do nutritionally, or choose to not.
Yep.
That's not a hard decision, but it is a hard decision, you know. So yeah, at the top of the top, I just think it really matters, especially like you said, if you want longevity. You know, when you're 18, we all know that our bodies are a little bit more susceptible to being okay with it. But yeah, if you want to push, you know, a real career out of something and be 25 and still rolling, and volleyball is kind of a late bloomer sport. Like you really kind of sometimes peak when you're like 26 is like your best year, 28, 29, even 30. So longevity is really important in our sport. So yeah, I think a lot of that gets solved in the kitchen. And I'm not a nutritionist by any means. I'm just a coach that's coached for, you know, 8-9 years. And the athletes that I've had that are really, really good in that space are all typically really, really good on the court.
Yeah.
So
When we coach our athletes, and you're right about the decision, it's easy and it's super hard. Here's what we tell them. It's really hard in the moment. I come home and I'm hungry and food's not ready. I go to chips or I'll grab a beer and then dinner's a half hour later. It's really hard when I have no plan or it's got to be quick.
mhm.
If I make my decisions really then I usually don't do very well. If I make all my decisions on Sunday well ahead of all the obstacles and I put some stuff together, a plan in place where even if it's just one meal, like, all right, I'm going to make sure all my breakfasts are great. Whereas before, maybe all my meals were just all over the place. Just try to win breakfast all week
Yeah,
long this week and do that for a month. And then month two, try to win your morning snack. And then month three, try to win lunch. But it's the system you set up, not the goal, right? It's the system. So if
yes,
I can set my system up on Sundays to win breakfast every day, okay. I don't have to make any more decisions. It's already made. It's not in the moment, it's not quick, it's done without pressure. Um, and if it's done then I have a better shot of success. If it's got to be fast, then it's like, well, shoot, man, this is fast, so it's going to be
yeah.
nachos and chicken fingers, like you said,
Yeah, and
right?
it's prep. It's all prep work, and there's a lot of football teams this year. Everybody, you know, always has mantras and stuff like that. A lot of the social media stuff in football is going around is this concept of choice. Like you don't have one. You know, people think you have a choice if that you could do this or this. If you say that you really want to be great,
Yeah.
if you're not lying and you actually wholeheartedly believe it, and you say that I want to be the best to do it, and I want to be the best, you don't have a choice. You all know what the right answer is.
Yes.
It's about doing it or not doing it. It has nothing to do. We all know what the right choice is, and
Yes.
you don't have one if you want to be the best, and that's okay. And if some players don't want to be the best, and that athlete is also very important. And team sport and individual sport, it's fine. You just can't lie.
Yeah.
You can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to your team. You can't lie to your coaches. You got to understand what your role is, why you're playing a sport, uh, and why
Right.
you're doing anything in your human life. But if you set it up correctly, it's you can either make it a lot easier on yourself to get it right or a lot harder.
I love that. We talked about that a couple times. I signed up for this event where we're swimming across the Hudson River with these Navy SEALs.
Yeah, I
And
just saw that actually. It
and
looked incredible, huh?
yes, and I'm not a swimmer, right?
Yeah,
So a year ago I started swimming. So when you make this choice to do that, like you said, there wasn't like, hey, this week I don't feel like swimming. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm like, I'm so far behind that I need to get all these reps in to
yeah,
get where I need to be. Well, you want to skip push-ups and pull-ups today? You just can't. And so once you make this, or let's say you choose to go to boot camp and you sign up to join the Marines. Well, all the other choices about when you're getting up and when you're going to chow and when you're doing PT, those are all illusions. You think you get to remake those all the time. You don't because you made this one choice that
yeah.
took away all the others. So I love when people get that concept. That's that is huge.
What's really interesting about both those examples, and we had talked, me and my friend group just got to talk about this. It's so fun being in just like a coaching friend group, and even in your space, just like the mental side of things and athlete builder and anything like that. Like you all think the same way. So I'll get texted like 4 a.m. where it's just like, hey, I was just laying in bed thinking about this. Let's talk about this some other time, you know. But we had just discussed kind of what you had talked about. You just listed two examples that had where you made a decision about something at the end of a
Hmm.
line instead of the next decision. So a lot of times people look at this like road that they're trying to do, a project, trying to get better in shape or whatever, and they're looking at the first decision they have to make. But we've been talking about it a lot, and it's true in our personal lives, and that's why we were talking about it. When I book a flight to China in June, and I don't have the money to do it financially, and I don't have the time to do it personally, and I'll figure it out. I always do
You have to.
because I don't have a choice.
That's right. It's fun.
So when you start with the back end of something, when you sign up for a marathon that you haven't done yet, you've never been a runner or anything like that, and a lot of people are doing that now, where they just pull the trigger on the sign up, and now it forces them into the next choices. I think that is a much better technique for doing things and making sure they get done, or at least taking your best crack at them, than going
Hemming and
in
hawing,
reverse
back and
and
forth.
looking at like, oh, I'm going to train so that I can sign up for a marathon.
Yeah. You're
Just
still
sign up.
not right. You're not committed.
Just do
Right.
it. You will figure it out. You always figure it out, whether it's financially or physically or time wise, or, it's really interesting. We've been talking about how you can apply that principle into some other areas of life and even coaching and sports. So yeah, it's
Yes.
pretty cool.
So when they make the choice, then my life is so much easier because I'm like, oh, you said you want to play in college.
Right.
Great. Here's what you're doing. And they're looking at me with big eyes. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, you said it.
You said
So
it.
so here you go. Now I'm going to take you at face value and your word, and assuming, like you said, you're not lying to me. So here is the answer. And
Yeah.
so once you start doing that, we're like, oh, okay. Then you start realizing that person didn't really make that choice, or
Right.
they did, and it's like, okay, cool, cool. Um, can I have an example about that? Oh well, forgot it. All right, so we've been on for a while, having a great time. Could do this all day long. Um, love what you guys are about, and also just the energy, especially learning something completely out of nowhere where you didn't even play the sport, but just keep digging at it. And so that's one of my contentions, that with enough runway, you could be a doctor, you could be an attorney, you could be in construction. You just keep
Yeah.
figuring out what you need to learn next. Surround yourself with the right people, and learn, and then keep at it. So here's someone who's a marine biologist who's now in volleyball world, right? It's just
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. If you were playing for Indy Ignite,
Okay.
what position would you be?
Oh, a 3 rotation opposite that didn't serve. I want to get subbed in the front row, and you have one job as an opposite. It's to stop the best player on their team. Just make incredible block moves against their outside hitter, and you play 3 rotations across the front row, and your job is clear as day. Don't let that girl win. It's
Okay,
one on one. There's a chess game involved. It's show and take. It's fun. You don't have to pass. You don't have to set. You don't have to. If I get set, yeah, I want to score and obviously win. But the blocking side of being a 3 rotation opposite, of just trying to shut down the girl that's going to get the most sets on that side of the floor, is always enthralling to me. Of just the mind games and the chess match that goes into that is I've always just found so fun. I don't know.
what about like just taking balls in the face then?
As a front row player or a back row? Because
Well,
most of
aren't
our
you
girls,
if you're blocking all these
yeah,
shots,
yeah,
sooner or
most
later
people are jumping higher enough.
sooner or later your nose is gonna get knocked around, right?
Yeah, it happens. Well, I think my nose is actually still red from one that I got popped last week. Happens way more than you would think, but yeah, technically, if I blocked correctly, I probably wouldn't have that issue. But technique isn't always perfect. But yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's a chess match.
I saw a pro on my team, the Guardians are really the Indians, try to bunt the ball the other day, and he took one in the
Oh
face.
yeah,
So
whew,
these are our pros been doing their whole life. Like mistakes happen, just
it
random things
happens.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah, I was watching that live when it happened, and I audibly gasped out
yeah,
loud. Like it's just
not good.
it's part of sports. It's part of high level sports. You got to understand the risks, and we're doing it. But yeah, concussions are obviously really serious, and the most common injury in volleyball, besides ACLs and ankles, here and there. But it's physical. These athletes, these women at the pro level even in the Big Ten, are physical and just insane specimens. They know how good they are. They work their butts off to get to that level, and I wouldn't want to fight half of them. I mean, I'm in practice taking reps against our opposite Ajani, and my wrist hurts. I'm like, how many more times, how many more reps does Ajani need? Because my shoulder is going to blow out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm 29. I'm getting a little too old for this. Coaches' bodies got it. They take a pretty good impact too, but it's worth it. I'll take that beating for a Johnny if it can make a Johnny 1% better. So
So do you get in the weight room yourself and lift?
yeah, it's I think every coach kind of has their own role, and I'll hop into practice and play when I need to, and so I got to be in physical shape to do that. I think it brings value to me as a person, as a
Yeah,
hire. I think it's pretty important. And being 29, I am on the younger side of coaching staffs typically, and so if they're looking at anybody to do it, they're like, "That's the guy right there." So yeah, I try to stay pretty physically in shape. I think it's pretty important, and it's also when I feel my best, anyways.
sure.
So I got to take care of myself in the kitchen as well, just as much as athletes do, because if I'm not on, I can't be my best for them. And so yeah, Bruno is one of our other assistant coaches. He was a professional player. He's from Brazil. So me and him will hop into practice when need be, if we're beat up injury wise or extra reps and we just need to save load management for somebody else. No, we get in there and we ball with them. So it's fun.
When I tell people about the athlete builder model, I say you can apply it to anybody. You can apply it to an accountant. You can apply it
Hmm.
to a doctor. And you're right. You eat well to perform well as an athlete. Same deal happens in the professional life. You eat a bunch of crap, you walk around sluggish, your brain's not functioning well. If you're in shape, you're going to have more energy, right? So
Yeah.
whether you're in athletics or not, it's just part of the deal. So if you're lifting in the weight room, what's the music you listen to?
Ooh, heavy, like Lil Wayne, Carter Five,
All right.
like heavy and angry.
I don't know if you got a wife or a fiance, a girlfriend, whatever, but if you had a bucket list adventure, someplace you haven't been with someone or not,
Hmm.
not at all. You haven't been there yet. Where would you go?
Biggest next one I got to get done is South Africa. I want to cage dive with great whites. That's next on the list. Catch me
Nope.
there.
Nope.
Yep,
Nope.
yep. I'll take you. We'll go, Jim. Come on.
Well, they had these bull sharks that go in the Hudson River. They come in from salt
Yeah,
water into fresh water, and they're telling us about this, before we jumped into the Hudson. I'm like, I already got
yeah.
enough going on to worry
They're
about
just trying to
that.
make you swim faster. That's all.
Well, I'm doing all I can, I'm doing all I can. But yeah, great whites. Nah, I'm gonna be good. Favorite sports movie?
The Rookie. It's an
Gotcha.
oldie. Good
Yeah.
baseball movie. Yeah,
If I'm going baseball, I'm going Major League. 'Cause I'm from Cleveland, and come on.
fair.
But The Natural and Robert Redford just died. There's so many good ones out there. Um, do you have a favorite sport to watch?
Oh, yeah. It's
Gotcha.
not close. I like watching it. I like being in person. I think it's so fast. Very similar to one. It's just constant, which is nice.
Does the Indy Fuel play where the volleyball team plays now? Because
Yep.
they used to be over at the fairgrounds, so now they're not. Okay,
Yes.
we would go watch them. We love watching hockey. It's way better, live in person.
Yes.
Yes. So then slapsticks, now not the favorite movie, right?
No. No. Maybe Miracle on Ice.
That's good too, right? One of my coaches, I was talking about how much I like that slapstick movie, and he came in one day and he brought me a hockey jersey, brand new. He's like, "Hey man, here you go," and I was like, and it says Chiefs on it, like just from the movie, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Nice.
All right, so favorite athlete to watch, either current or old or retired
Ooh.
or dead or what?
Any sport.
Yep.
It's a tough one, man. Hmm. Ellie De La Cruz right now is a baseball player, he's an infielder, and he's incredible to watch because I don't know if this is factual or not, probably the tallest shortstop to ever exist. He might be bouncing between third, and he throws the ball like an absolute cannon.
Hmm.
So watching him play the sport is pretty fun, and he plays it a little bit differently because of his size. He gets to do some things that not other people get to do. So De La Cruz is pretty fun to watch right now.
Awesome. You got a book that you like you could recommend?
Oh
You
yeah,
put,
I love it. Love reading. I think it's so important. Uh, the best one that's been in recent, my last five or six. It's called the War of Art.
so another person mentioned that. Okay, who wrote that? Any idea?
I have no idea.
I'm writing it down.
Um,
War of Art.
I'll
Got it.
get up and check for you. But
That's
if you need a kick in the butt, that's the book.
all right. This could be a real life person or it could be fictional.
Mhm.
Favorite hero or superhero?
Not a big superhero guy, so I'll go with my actual hero. That's my father, man. That's my dad for sure.
No Ken. And then villain.
I don't even know if I can name you an actual supervillain.
The Joker, right? Everybody knows that guy.
That's a fair point, but I wouldn't even come up with that. Not a Marvel or a DC guy, but Joker is pretty legendary when it comes to it.
Mine's Hannibal Lecter. If you ever
Now
watched
that
Silence of the
have you
Lambs,
watched the series?
well, Silence of the Lambs, the movie came out when I was in high school with
Yeah,
yeah, and Jodie Foster, and I saw that dude, and I thought, oh my God, he's so far ahead of everybody mentally. I'm
yep.
like, okay. A lot of people say Darth Vader. The Joker's the most common answer. Um,
Amazon
Wolverine.
Prime just put out a new Hannibal Lecter series that you got to watch.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
It's real good.
okay. Um, in the weight room, you have a favorite lift?
Chest day for sure. Give me like a
Okay,
cross cable chest fly all day.
all right. You have any quotes for us?
The one that's always been plastered above my office like door for the last 8 years is "Nobody cares, work harder."
Yeah,
That's always just resonated with me. Like it's excuse city in our society right now, and just nobody cares, man. Like you got to do your job. So I know you got problems. I know things at home, things this, and tired. Nobody cares. Work.
obviously people can find you Indy Ignite, and you can go on the website and you know try to make their way to you. But there's other areas where can people find you. So where can people that are looking to reach out and connect, whether it's from a clinic or whatever, where can people find you?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Brett underscore Agne underscore. Anything on there is always good. But I do have a website as well if people are looking for like individual coaching or like private lessons, camps, clinics, stuff like that. So that's just brettagneathletics.com. So there's a contact sheet on there, and then my personal cell is plastered all around this world anyway, so anybody can have it if they want. And it's on the website as well, so pretty accessible, and I think that's important. I want to be as accessible as possible. I've been super blessed to be around some really intelligent coaches and have some great mentors, so I want to be able to share that with as many people as possible.
Awesome. Brett, we had a great time having you on today. It
Hey,
was
thanks for
fun.
having me.
It's fun and good to connect. You had cool stories and cool points that make an impact, and that's what we're trying to do here. And for anyone reaching out to us, they got questions for our guests or for us, keep doing the same drill. Info@athlete-builder.com. And my next webinar is always the first Tuesday, and it's every other month. So the first Tuesday in October, I think that's the 7th, is the next webinar. And this topic will be training. And people that plateaued, got problems with training, don't know how to train, or don't know what to do to advance, tune in to our next Athlete Builder webinar. Brett, again, man, thanks for being on the show, man. Loved having you. Thanks for taking the time and providing the gift that you did.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.